Hi, welcome to this video. My name is Sukumar Narasimhan and I'm speaking to you on behalf of the CI Institute of Logistics. Uh, Amongst various other things that the CI Institute is doing, I am here to take you through three videos on our unique initiative. And let me give a background to this in this video and then take you forward in terms of further detailing in the next two editions of the video. The first is I'm sure all of you are aware of about the Make in India campaign of the Indian economy. We want to become a resurgent manufacturing destination for the world. And coupled with that is our second, and which I think is the even more important objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is that we want to become self-reliant. I think these are very, very noble objectives of our nation. And as the center of excellence for the CII, which is the Confederation of Indian Industry, in the logistics and supply chain space, the CII Institute of Logistics has got a phenomenally supportive role that it can play in terms of unfolding and making these visions of the Indian government come true. And therefore, CII, it's not that the CII Institute has not done anything about it. They have done a fair amount of work over the last many years that they have been in existence. And amongst the most important and momentous of those is the fact that the Institute constituted CII National Logistics Committee. We took our issues of the logistics and the supply chain sector with the government fairly seriously and then asked them for a single window that would listen to all our issues and resolve some of our policy requirements. And I'm happy to announce here, if you did not already know, that under the Ministry of Commerce, there is already a logistics division that's established thanks to the efforts of the CI Institute of Logistics, National Logistics Committee. So that's one of its very first and amongst the major steps that it has taken towards making India truly competitive, making the vision of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign come true. Now, therefore, I'm sure you will agree with me that the CI Institute of Logistics has got a phenomenally noble task at hand. We need to put a lot of things into practice, and amongst the various initiatives, this one unique initiative is the one that I'm going to talk to you about in this and the next two videos to follow. In this video, I'll primarily take you through why is it that we want to do what we want to do. Yeah, so stay tuned as I take you forward. So when we start to look at what is it that the CI Institute of Logistics can do to improve and bring up the competence of the logistics service sector in the country and make the supply chain of the economy more efficient, what is it that we could do? So we thought about what are the basic steps that we would need to look at in terms of a value proposition. And we said perhaps we should label it supply chain arthashastra. Now, this is truly in the Indian tradition that we should call it so, because after all, what is it that the supply chain should do? It should do its operations in such a way that it makes money, isn't it? So the economics of supply chain or the art of making money through supply chain is supply chain arthashastra. And we found a very strange coincidence picking away the first two alphabets of supply chain arthashastra and called it Sucharsh, for example. Now, we found that Sucharsh is actually a confluence of two Sanskrit words, one Shuchi, which means it's clean or pure, and the other is Harsh, which is happiness or cheerfulness. So, what does it mean? So, what is the value proposition that we are as a CII Institute of Logistics and as the Center of Excellence for Logistics and Supply Chain in our country? What is it that we derive as our value proposition? The value proposition is we are looking at the art of making money through clean supply chains, and that becomes our solicited, unsolicited, and avowed aim, whichever way you want to call it, but that's our primary focus. So, as we started out on this journey of looking at what and how we should go about making the Indian economy, have a brighter place in its logistics and supply chain competence, we realized that the CII Institute of Logistics will have to play the role of a beacon, a light that brings people to the shore. But the reality of a beacon light like this is what is that it brings all kinds of ships to the shore, right? So you have to bring everybody in the logistics and supply chain service sector to the shore of competence, make them sustained in their practices of being competitive not only in the world economy but even set a benchmark for the others. Why not? Why can't we have that as our aim? So that's the nobility part of what we want to do. Yeah, now it's a very noble objective that the institute has. So how do we do this? We realize that there are ships of different types that come in, and therefore we realize that we'll have to juggle with many things at the same time. Yeah, so how does the nobility get combined with our ability to cope? So what we wanted to do was we wanted to look at how do we get this started, and we started to scope out what we needed to do, and that's how our unique initiative unfolded. So as we scoped out what needed to be done, we realized we would have to hit the ground running on the one hand, while ensuring all the resources that are already engaged and those that will soon be engaged in the logistics and supply chain sector will need to be alive to the nation's stellar objectives and contribute their might towards the same. We thus began to examine an imminent feedback we used to receive during the events the Institute used to conduct from the industry professionals. Can the Institute do something to make the students passing out from the universities more readily employable with minimal training? As we probed further into how we could make this meaningful difference, we realized that academia and industry actually reside in two very different worlds with unique emphasis of their own. In the universities, for example, the stress is on disciplined approach to studying, reproducing, and then sitting for examination so that you get good grades. You move over to the industry, and there is no teaching at all. There is no studying. You have to work, start working, hit the operations running, learn on the job, isn't it? So there, the stress is on resolving problems, handling operations independently, resolving problems as they arise, and grow independently with minimal or better still, no hand holding. Now, the academia again is a place which is extremely static, which means there is a set pattern. There is a timetable for a semester. Yeah, there are those subjects that will be taken by certain faculties. The syllabus will be laid out, and the stress is on learning the theoretical concepts behind management, whatever operations of life and management that it may be. Now, in the industry, it's not so. In the industry, you're in a dynamic world. You are in an operation that is happening every time and happening differently. So there the stress is on practical, dynamic, and uncertain situations to be managed effectively and successfully. Now, when everything is given, laid out, almost like things written on stone, the only route to mastery is through practice, isn't it? It's like reciting a shloka, for example. So the only way you can recite a shloka is through practice. So mastery is through practice, whereas in the industry, mastery can only be through experience, isn't it? Now, let's move forward. What about what's in the box? What do I mean by what's in the box? In the academia, all you have to do is to dive deeper and deeper into a certain area of academic thought, isn't it? Look at who are all the people who have contributed, what are the articles written, what is the literature survey, and therefore, what role is it that is in the box about a certain subject? Yeah. Now, in the industry, you'll realize that the question will be, where is the box? So there is no box there. There is things which you have to unfold on your own. And in fact, the stress in industry is to say, okay, what is it that you can do to, to think out of the box, isn't it? Therefore, what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that it is good for us to realize how the factors to succeed in the academia and the industry are polarized in a certain sense. Now, this is extremely critical, isn't it? So, we felt the inevitable need for building this bridge of competence transition. And this is where we came up with the unique initiative of the foundation course in supply chain management. As we move to our next video, you will see how this foundation course, the way it is designed and administered, will answer the needs of many a spectrum of people who want to become outstanding logistics and supply chain professionals. So I'll see you in the next video soon.